everyone, and welcome to the Roundball Report. I'm Lexter Taylor, filling in for Andrew Dyer. Joining me, the co-host, Janee Hayes. Janee, it's basketball all day.
Every day. Football season's over.
Unfortunately for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and we won't even start on that because this is a basketball show.
That's what they told me.
And I would like to deviate, but I'll stay right on track with it.
Hey, well, we got some guests tonight that love basketball.
We do. We're joined by the other Charlie's Angels, Shannon and Nikki Lewis are joining us in studio to start our conversation about college basketball and what's going on in the area. And we were having a brief discussion about Bowie State earlier. And Shannon, you said that they're doing pretty well, but the team, tell me, Johnson C. Smith is struggling this year, so I guess maybe Bowie's.
That's our alma mater.
Come on now. I thought we were going to focus on the positive, right? But as you said, yes, Bowie State is doing really well. They're 9-2 in the CIAA right now, second in the Northern Division, behind Virginia State, who they recently lost to. But it was a tough one. I mean, what can you say? If you're going to lose to a team, let it be the best team in the CIAA. So they also lost to Shaw, but I really like what they're doing. Cam Knox is a beast out there. That's their guard, and he's really doing work on the field for them. On the court for them, as well as Julian Livingston, who's leading the CIAA in three-point percentage. So they're doing it from beyond the arc as well.
Yeah, Livingston is a very interesting guy because he knocks down some big shots, and he's a secondary guy to Cameron Knox, Killer Cam, who has really helped lead Darrell Brooks' team. And Nikki, she used to cover Bowie State all the time before she got, all pretty with the Wizards. I mean, talk a little bit about Bowie State. I mean, they won the CIAA 2 years ago.
Yes, they did. They did. And then if you look at the women's side, they're struggling, but the guys are holding their own this year. They have an interim coach for the women's side. Sade Swan is standing in for Renard Smith. So we hope that they do a little bit better. And in the mix of it all, you still have Kaya Proctor, a local homegrown guard who's from Flowers, who's really jumped out there and doing really well. She's averaging 10 points a game. So as they move into a new coaching situation, I hope that she really jumps out there a little bit more and gets some more time on the floor, and we get to see her a lot more.
And it's interesting because we don't talk much about the Division II side. We always talk about the Division I side. And in Division I, we have two powerhouses in Maryland and Georgetown. Maryland in the Big Ten, first year in the Big Ten. Right now they're in second place behind Wisconsin, and they're balling right now.
Definitely they are. They are.
Yeah.
They're
looking really good. Well, recently they played Ohio State. That was a loss. Wasn't too good. Also at Indiana, there was another blowout there, but they got lucky versus Northwestern. A last-second shot, they pulled that off. So some people would say Maryland's kind of struggling right now because they haven't had any true wins. Against Ohio State, I was looking for Melo Trimble. He only had 3 points. That's not like what we've seen. He's been getting national attention by ESPN, all over the place. Everybody's talking about him, but what happened in that game? And so I think right now the last 9 games that they have here, 5 of them are going to be home games. I think the schedule is in their favor. I think they'll do a lot better with these games coming up. We'll see.
And here's the thing about when teams lose around this time of year. Granted, they've just started their conference play, really the thick of it. Right. But it's also right after exams or right before exams. So, you don't want to say that there's a letdown, but there's a different focus because inevitably you are a student athlete, so you must take care of your priorities first. Right. And it takes a lot. It's a lot on you to have to study and do all these things and then be, have to be the superstar on the team as well. You sometimes see after those exams finish and once they get acclimated to, for Maryland, acclimated to the Big Ten and how coaches coach and how players play and all those different nuances that they begin to emerge. And you also want them to lose. If they have to lose, now's a good time to lose because this is where the lessons are learned. You don't want to lose in the Big Ten tournament, and you surely don't want to lose in the NCAA.
Right, exactly. Which, like she said, Melo Trimble had a tough game, but against Northwestern, he had a high. So I think it does have a lot to do with the exams and all the changes, and you have to go study. Now I got to get on the floor, and it's a lot about the psyche and the mindset. So I think you're right. Right now is the time to have all those nerves and, okay, I'm going to take a game off. Normally it's like you don't take any games off, but reality sets in as a student athlete. You just can't. Sometimes you do.
Right.
You really do.
And they're 18-4 right now. I mean, we're talking about a little bit of, they're struggling a bit. But, and you know, as we approach the tournament, March Madness is right around the corner. Where do you see Maryland tournament-wise? Are they a 4 seed? Right now, some people are projecting them to be like a number 4. Maybe they should be higher.
Well, I noticed that on ESPN.com's bracketology, they're a 4 seed right now, at least projected as so. But they'd have to go through Virginia. And we know what happened when they played them in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Well, it was a tough one, you know. It was a tough one. And until they faced Duke this weekend, they were undefeated. So that's...
Until they face who this weekend?
Duke.
Oh,
Duke.
That blue and white team. I really love that hue of blue as well.
No. How did that?
I mean, you know.
I mean, okay, we transitioned to Duke. What's the deal with Suleiman, since you want to talk Duke? What's the deal with him?
Haters always hate.
I just want some clarity.
Yeah, in all honesty, I want clarity as well. I've sent out an SOS message like, somebody let me know something. But from what I've heard, and I don't want to spread rumors, it's very serious. Like, it's not just he was academically, you know, ineligible or something like that, but I heard that it's extremely serious, of the serious nature. And for Coach K, it probably was, because typically if they can wipe something under the carpet, and I hate to say that in that type of tone, but if they can fix it without anybody knowing, then that's what they do. The mere fact that he had to suspend him, which meant it became national knowledge, meant that it is extremely serious. So I've heard whispers of what it could be, but until I know I got a 90% accurate whisper, I'll keep it to myself.
You know, this is how the transition into Georgetown. When John Thompson coached Georgetown back in the day, Alonzo Mourning kind of was hanging out with a bad crowd, but he didn't kick him off the team.
Right.
He kept him on the squad because Alonzo Mourning meant a lot to that team. But over to Georgetown, they're playing well also. They're a game back a Villanova team they beat a few weeks ago. What do you think of Georgetown's chances in March Madness?
I think they have a good chance in March Madness. I mean, I honestly say everyone has a good chance. It just depends on who shows up, who's ready for the pressure, who's ready that particular day. So I don't do any picks or judgments, because it really comes down to where's your mind this particular day, who wants it more. As a coach, that's how I look at it.
And they've beaten a couple of pretty impressive teams. I mean, you look at Georgetown's body of work. They're doing a pretty good job this season. I mean, the month of January, they really played well. I mean, February is really what kind of separates the men from the boys, I think, in college basketball. I mean, what are your thoughts of Georgetown?
Well, the win against Creighton, I don't know that we can really say much about that, because they're at the bottom of the Big East. They're a bottom feeder. I mean, they held them to under 21% field goal percentage. Do you... Like 1 for 5, really? So, I mean, I don't know how much we credit the defense, or is Creighton really that bad? Right. And even John Thompson III said, hey, our defense actually wasn't all that great.
Yeah, but they did beat Butler, and they did beat Villanova. I mean, those are two impressive victories. So, you know, the Hoyas, around the tournament time, they seem to play better.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Georgetown and Maryland. I want them to put them all in the same bracket. Georgetown, Maryland, Virginia.
Yeah.
Put them all in the same bracket and let them duke it out.
Georgetown might have to go through Kentucky, though.
Ew.
Which, that's like playing NBA players.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyone that has to go through Kentucky, even given it's one game, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I would not want to be the teams in Kentucky's bracket.
Nope.
It's unfair.
No.
And what are your thoughts of Virginia? They're a local team. You can consider them a local team in Charlottesville, Virginia. Losing to Duke the other night. They're struggling against North Carolina tonight. So it's just interesting. Will they rebound? I mean, will Virginia?
They won't have a chance to. Gosh, with Carolina tonight and then Louisville, they won't have a chance to come above water and kind of get a gasp of air. They got to, you know, keep going. And they're at the Dean Center, so Dean Smith Center. So I mean, it's not like they get to play them at home.
Run off momentum.
Right.
I mean, do you think they're going to get a 1 seed?
Virginia?
I mean, they've been in the top 5 most of the year.
They have.
I mean, because it's getting down
That's
to
a tough call.
decisions
Yeah.
about seeding. And
Right.
we know Kentucky is going to be a 1 seed. We can kind of pretty much guarantee that
It wouldn't be a
the
stretch.
Blue Devils are going to be a 1 seed.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're the 3 and 4. You kind of toss up. Is Kansas going
Right.
to get that other spot? Is Virginia going to get the spot? I mean,
Virginia's body of work so far says that they should get one, but it's not late enough in their ACC season. Like, you got to see how it ends and then see how well, if it ends well and they do poorly in the tournament, they'll still have a high seed. But if they struggle and then do well in the tournament, there's no guarantee there, because the tournament weights less than your entire body of work. But they have a relatively high RPI, so they must get through that ACC successfully.
I'm concerned a bit because coming into their game with Duke, they were allowing the fewest amount of points, period, in the nation. But then they gave up the most amount of points per game and in the paint and in transition versus Duke. Hello? You just went completely against your game. They basically were taking it in transition and getting it every single possession. Right.
well, I know during the break we're going to talk about women's basketball, but we have time to talk about women's basketball. Nikki wanted to talk about Maryland. She wanted to talk about how good they're doing this year.
Lady Terps.
Yes.
I mean, because we can't talk basketball and just talk the men.
That's right. That's right. The Lady Terps are doing well this season. Laura Mincy and Bryn Mosley, they're really coming out and they're carrying this team, and they're forging ahead. I'm excited to watch this team play, and I'll be out on Wednesday watching the game and covering the game. So I'm excited to go out and see the Terps. They're doing really well.
You know, I watch women's basketball. I just want to tell you.
You do.
But I haven't watched it lately because I miss Brittany Griner and I miss Skylar Diggins. I mean, they're gone to the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
So does that make you watch the WNBA?
No.
No. I know the answer to
But
that.
then, I mean, if you miss those players, you still have another level of basketball that you can watch
The
them.
problem is it's summertime.
Okay.
And that's a problem. A lot of people, you know, they want to enjoy their summer. They want to take trips.
It's right
And
after the
that's
NBA
just-
finals.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sitting down watching a WNBA game, that's just taken away from your beach time.
Well,
That's what you mean?
the WNBA, in my opinion, gets lost on the sports calendar because, like you said, it's at the end of the NBA season.
Right.
So I think it gets lost. Now, we do a good job of covering it here on the show. You guys
Yeah, we
are
cover
there. But it just gets lost, in my opinion.
And on a national level, it's gotten way less publicity over the years. Like when it first came out in '97, I believe. I mean, you could catch games on ABC
All the time.
all the time, and that's how I became like a WNBA fan. I was like, oh wow, look at these guys. But now, as the years have passed, you might catch a game on ESPNU
Here and there.
Here and there.
Right.
The local stations don't cover them.
I normally see them.
So, I mean, where you're missing out on a bevy of talent, and really basketball enthusiasts and purists love to watch the women's game because you're going to see the shot fake, you're going to see the one dribble pull up, you're going to see the 3 to 4 passes to get an open shot. And then you're going to see some hot dogging too.
Exactly. Like you see on the men's side,
Yeah,
you're gonna see it
Tarasi
on
will
the
definitely
women's
give
side
you
as
what
well.
you want and
She
make
really-
it exciting.
Exactly.
Diana's always been that way.
Right.
When she was at Connecticut, she was a baller.
Absolutely.
She's still
She played better than some guys.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So,
And you would think that would be a draw.
Draw,
that you watch
right.
them ball in high school, college, now on the pro side, but it isn't. It's like it's lost. Once they leave the college side and the women move over to the pro side of the women's sports, it's a really big drop off.
well, we want to thank you guys for talking women's basketball there, but we're going to talk NBA basketball. All-Star game. We got to find out what's going on with Mr. Dwight Howard.
Nothing.
We'll be back with more Roundball Report.